Hey, boys. Pidgey's out, but Big Kaspa's in. Kaspa, how'd you go from the first run, from the first pod you did with us? Did you pull up okay?
Yeah, it was good. I think my bowling workloads or word workload, I was well under.
I haven't thought about that. Podcast workloads. For your voice.
Cliche. It's on works on cliches, doesn't it? Certainly for sports people.
Podcast workload management.
Yes.
Okay, that's what we'll do to all the guests. And nothing to live up to, Kaspa, but Starkey was just unbelievable.
He was really good, really good.
He was unreal. All right, let's get into it. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Fast Bowling Cartel podcast. My name's Damien Fleming, and this is the Ashes Gabba test preview. Plenty of questions. Will Travis Head open? Will Pat Cummins slip in at the last minute? Will Bazball continue to be fizz ball? We will answer all this. Joining me as always, and obviously the listeners from Dakar, you love this man because it is Dakar Diz's double century, 201 there. JC boy, how are you going, mate?
I'm going very well, Flem. It's great to be here. Looking forward to just unpacking a lot of the discussions about this test match at the Gabba. There's a lot of excitement. You know, we obviously reflected on the Perth test, that short 2-day test. But yeah, let's dive into. Looking forward to diving in. Okay, well, there's no pigeon for this episode. His pigeon? Yeah. I don't know if it's podcast workload, but we couldn't get him. But what about this for a replacement, though? The Gabba specialist, the smiling assassin, gun Australian bowler, and for Queensland as well. It is the big man, Kaspa, Michael Kasprowicz. Kaspa, thanks for joining us again.
Hey, thanks, Flem, and thanks, Diz. It's
great to see you, Kas.
Guys.
Great to have you on board.
Wonderful to be here. And generally, I always did my best work off the bench. Certainly with the Australian team, I think it was 13 times over 10 years where I came back in and out of that side. I think it was, I told you last time, I think your mate, Peter Hellier, introduced me to function as the guys had more recalls than Daihatsu. So I'm just happy to be here again today. Thank you.
I'll use that in the opener next time. What was Fit Bick, Andy Bickle? How many times was he 12th man? Did he keep a total?
Yeah, I think he might have the record. I know
Andy might have the
record. But as far as coming in and out of the squads, particularly in the subcontinent,
yeah,
it was my bag baby.
It was your bag baby. I think that's where we first watched Austin Powers, wasn't it? 98 India. But the thing is about being 12th man, the great Rodney Hogg, yeah, he had a different philosophy to us. He just said same pay, less pressure.
Yeah. And if you do a crap job, I suppose you won't get it next time, will you? So, yeah.
Hey, Kaspa, you're obviously living up there in Brisbane. What's the conditions been? What's the lead up been like for the curators up there at the Gabba test?
Outstanding. It's been nice and warm. And we had a few thunderstorms, a couple of sticky days last week, 36 or so it was. But I reckon this week, when you look ahead, it's actually really good. I don't think they're expecting these thunderstorms, which typically come through for your nice, hot, steamy days. But it'll be great. And I think that's the whole thing with the Gabba pitch. Back in the day, everyone used to talk about the Gabba green top. Well, don't believe the hype. It's going to be outstanding, as it always is. And certainly nothing to be scared about.
Yeah, I mean, preparation's everything, isn't it? If the curators are able to get on and have perfect preparation, they'll have the grass to whatever they want, 8 millimetres. It was interesting, the first day night test match up there, Pakistan scored over 400 in the second innings. So the longer it goes, if you can get through, and this is the question for me for Bazball, you know, if you can get past 40 overs as a team, 40 to 80 overs with the pink ball, particularly if it's during the day, can be great batting conditions.
Yeah, well, I think that's always been the trick with the Gabba is that, you know, with certainly day one, it's allowed to do a little bit. Every wicket's allowed to do a bit before lunch. So get to their limited damage. And then after lunch, when the ball gets a little bit old, a bit softer, it's fill your boots time. You're seeing it really well. And quite often then, as we've always found, certainly for Queensland, when teams like Victoria and South Australia as well would come up here for Shield games. You guys are just get carried away and try way too hard, coming up and trying to think that every ball is, I've got to get wickets this over. And it's just all about, it's hard, the hardest place to bowl, I reckon, for a fast bowler in Australia, the Gabba. And the reason is expectation, because everyone comes up here and try way too hard.
Yeah.
Diz, how do you find it early on in your career?
Yeah, I understand exactly what Kaspa's saying, excuse me, because you're almost expected to take wickets and teams would win the toss and decide to bowl. I remember in my times playing against Queensland were always happy to bat first. No problem. And get through because they knew that teams would come and more often than not, field first, they'd see the Gabba green wicket, think, right, we've got to get wickets. And then it actually puts a bit of expectation, as Kaspa said, on the bowlers, and bowlers feel that expectation, try too hard, they'll either get carried away with the bounce or get carried away thinking it'll swing, it'll seam, and then look to overpitch. And batters just lean on them. And the Queensland players knew they just play late, play straight, and just punch you back down the ground, wait for your width. So your margin for error was actually a bit less than you thought. So, I understand what Kaspa's saying. Because when you play in some of the southern states and you know the surface is going to be very good for batting, you've just got to lock in. And mentally as a bowler, you just know your margin for error is less. You've just got to be as ruthless and as disciplined as possible. And so that you kind of just expect that. So I agree. The expectation up in Queensland from players that haven't played there or don't play there very often was definitely real.
Yeah, I certainly found bowling there, if it was late or mid to late day 2, day 3, it was as good a batting conditions as anywhere in Australia because you got pace and the ball come on, but the ball wasn't doing a lot, particularly off the seam. And then you talk about horrors for the Victorian team, Kaspa. I think my first Shield game there, we won the toss and bowled, you beauty. It was when Graham Hick come to Queensland.
Oh, 91.
And we got a couple of, we were wayward, and Alan Border, even though he's the Australian captain, he gets 100. We finally get him out early day 2, and I was batting number 9. I batted twice on that day. Warren Ayres, our opener, made a pair in a session.
Oh, no.
And the other one I thought about with the Gabba was Mike McKenna, who's the ground manager at Perth Stadium, had a crack at both teams, like, ill-disciplined cricket, Konstas, blah, blah. And he wanted the Australian and England team to play a one-day or a T20, which is never going to get ahead. But we lost in Queensland, one of my early games. We lost that early. Queensland cricket offered up, can we play a 20-over game? You've got to lose early to be able to have 40 overs on a day there. But, that's ahead of them too. It's different when the curators have interrupted preparation, isn't it? Raining, which is so hard. It'll have that extra grass and moisture, but this should be perfect. What are you thinking with the Aussie team? There's a few questions. Do you open with Travis Head? Then do you find room for another batter like an Inglis or Webster or someone like that? Another question, Nathan Lyon. Does he play?
Yeah.
And then can you play an extra quick? And will Pat Cummins be fit? And do you put him in straight away? So feel free to discuss those points for Australia.
I'll start. Look, there's lots of discussion. I think you're pointing about the opening batting. I think we need to wait on the fitness of Usman Khawaja, don't we? We're a bit unsure. I think he had a net yesterday. Is he 100%? We don't know. We know the Australian team. We want to give him as much time as possible to prove his fitness. So I think that suggests that the selectors are thinking of playing him. My personal opinion is I'd be bringing Inglis in, and I'd be making the decision on whether to open Inglis or open Travis Head. The Travis Head, that 100 in Perth was absolutely sensational. He averages north of 50 as an opener in Test cricket. Admittedly, it was over 9 innings and 8 of those are in the subcontinent. But he averages more opening than he does in any other position in the batting order for Australia. And while it is a small sample size, has it been staring everyone in the face, this decision on who to bring in as an opener? So, look, I think that's a pretty irresistible case. If that's the case, then Travis open, Josh Inglis comes in at 5. And then I think the discussion, I don't think Pat will play Flem. I think they'll keep him, lock him in for Adelaide. I'd be pretty confident with that. I think that then the other decision will be, do you play Nathan Lyon or do you lengthen your batting with another seam option, whether it's a Bo Webster or even a Michael Neser? If it was between Webster and Neser, that player would bat 8. And therefore, if they're batting 8, that they'd be in for me as a bowling all-rounder. So I would probably lean towards picking the best bowler. So that would be a chance maybe for Michael Neser. But for me, I think if you can't do it with 4 seamers, you're probably not going to do it with 5. So I'm sticking with the 3 quicks, Cameron Green, and I'm playing the GOAT, Nathan Lyon.
Yeah, I just remember, when we played the whole not workload, but the rest and rotation policy. I think that's what media used to call it, didn't they? Where all of a sudden, you're in, but then do you want to rest? And it was always a case of no way. Because then if I get a rest, then Damien Fleming will come in, and if he goes well, then I'm out, or Andy Bickle or whoever. And I just think that's what we've sort of not so much forgotten. I know with this these workloads and all the rest of the science in there, but we saw it plain and clear there. As you said, it took something extraordinary, which was Travis Head's innings, for Australia to win that test match from the position they were in. And it's one of those things where you really want to see it. The evidence was there. He took the opportunity. And I really think they won't change. I think they'll try their best to keep it the same. And coming back to the old theory, I'm not sure what you guys feel, but maybe because I was on the end of it all the time, but whenever Australia lost a test match, they'd always drop a bowler. Whereas obviously winning, then you just always keep the same team, even though to win a test match, you have to bowl a side out twice to win the test match, but you always lose a test match because you don't score enough runs. So that in itself was just one of those, I guess, formulas that we found over the years they always ran with. So I think they will always, and they've shown that in the past, they'll stick with what they know and will keep it the same because it's a winning test.
Yep.
I don't think they'll make any changes, really. I'd like to see it, but I don't think they will.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. I think that's a whole fast bowling cartel podcast in itself. The dropping of fast bowlers after losing one test and the batters get away with it because you've got to get 20 wickets there. Correct. Yeah, my vibe is that, what you said, Diz, is it looks like they're going to give Usman as much time as possible. Whereas I'm ready to go. I'd have Travis Head opening and Inglis in, just to see what's there for the future. And they've also talked about, and Head verbalised this, floating batting orders. So, that's a change of philosophy too, isn't it? Particularly with opening. You think the opening pair need to be strong, and we know about the bromances of the past with Haydos and Big and Little Alfie. But that filled a really good role that they knew each other that well. But and it can be done with a Travis Head, can't it? If it's day 3 and we want to accelerate the game and we're batting and it's the best batting conditions, you get Head in as quickly as possible.
Well, we do
he can score.
Australia has history of doing that. Fleming, you go back in our era, there were times a second innings and we were looking to move the game on. Adam Gilchrist would often move up the order as well. So there is history doing it. You mentioned about floating batting orders, and there's been some discussions about that. I actually like the fact that Andrew McDonald and his coaching staff and the selectors are having these strategic conversations. I just think, the game continually evolves and moves forward. But why not? Why just be, stuck into tradition and this is how we do it. Having at least the conversations, I don't think it's a bad thing to at least explore it and have those discussions. Whether they need to pivot and go down that path or not is another conversation. But I like the fact that they're thinking outside the square a little bit.
Flem, can I add to that? One of the things that one of the other confusing things I found about batsmen over the years was the fact that they claim, "Oh, I'm a top order batsman, or I'm an opening batsman only. That's it. That's where I fit." I would have loved to actually, for us bowlers, to say, "I'm only a new ball bowler."
Yeah.
But we have to, as bowlers, we have to bowl throughout the innings, whatever the situation is, circumstances, and you have to adjust. And that's what I've never understood with batsmen. Well, I put it on the long list, of course, of things I've never understood.
I'm liking this. This is why you are the secretary of the fast bowling cartel, Kaspa.
I know. Well, the fact that's why they go, "Oh, no, I'm a top order batsman." And hang on. But the situation is that if you even not bat at 6, there's a second new ball. Quite often you get a field. So I don't think that, and I think that's what Travis Head's sort of saying there, that it's never bothered him, and rightly so.
And Diz, question without notice, floating batting orders. That day in Dhaka when you batted 3, was that the start of the floating batting orders? It was spitting everywhere, it was turning, ponting at 3. How do I play spin? Was that what happened?
Well, again, I mean, just to back up Casper's point, like bowlers, I mean, we get asked to bat in the toughest conditions because the batters don't want to go out there and bat, so they send in a night watchman. So a guy who's batting 9 or 10 gets thrust at number 3, and that's do your job as batter. Like surely, but we don't when it's hard to bowl and it's flat, whatever. We don't throw the ball to a batter and say, "Mate, don't fancy it today. Can you just bowl for a bit?"
And then, Diz, boys, we were night watchmen, how much the batters want us to get to the end of the night so they don't have to go on and then go out there. And then the next morning, they want you to get out first ball.
Pretty much. Because they're
not rooting on you to bat for an hour, are they?
No.
And they never leave us any toasted cheese sandwiches either. Like they're busy throwing them down themselves, and we'll sacrifice those as well. So yeah.
Hey, what about Mr. Pinkball? We had him on the podcast last week, and he was sensational.
How good was that?
81 wickets at 17. Wasm Akram come out today, and just because Starkey's on 412 Test wickets. Wasim took 414, so Mitchell's 3 wickets away from being the most prolific left-arm quick of all time. And we love Wasim, but he's wrapping up Starc unbelievably. And so he should, and then particularly in pink ball Test matches for England, 81 wickets at 17.
Yeah, it's a pretty special record, isn't it? I mean, he is the GOAT of pink ball Tests. There's no doubt about that. At the Gabba, there's been a couple of games, and I think Starkey averages 30, 31, so he's more human, more normal, I suppose, compared to elsewhere. But look, he'll still have a big impact. He will be at the end of this Test be the most prolific left armour in the history of the game with the most wickets, and it's a thoroughly deserved accolade. I mean, he's been absolutely superb. England will be very wary of Mitchell Starc. I mean, he's got this unbelievable record of getting a wicket in the first over of a Test match. It's absolutely extraordinary. No one's come close to that in the history of the game. So, look, we're very fortunate as fast bowling fans, and the Cartel. We've been fortunate enough to watch him for over a decade as one of the best in the business.
Oh, he's been outstanding, isn't he? I think it's just a joy to watch. That's like we were all inspired by fast bowlers, because naturally you come in and just I guess bowl a little bit quicker, which is what sort of kept us involved and got us interested in it, but inspired. I was much as like Dennis Lilly, of course, for all us, or even the West Indies when they're coming out. Absolutely. It's where Mitchell Starc's doing exactly that to the next generation of bowlers coming up, seeing what he does, how he does it. He's so good.
Okay, what about England? They chose not to play in that Prime Minister's 11, which I didn't really bother me as much there, as long as they were together and getting in. I heard they added a few more net sessions at night instead of 3, 5. Stokes is not happy being called arrogant. They can say they're aggressive, but they're not arrogant. Root is questioning why we play pink ball Ashes test matches, because they sell them out anyway. And then the third question to discuss is, who replaces Wood? Is it Tongue, Potts? They're throwing up that. What about Will Jacks to strengthen their batting and then just bowl some off spinners there? What about your thoughts on those three things, Diz?
Yeah, first of all, I think if they do bring someone in to replace Mark Wood, and they want to go down this fast bowling like they did in Perth, I think Josh Tongue is ready to go. I was in Canberra, PM's 11 game. They played. He bowled quick. There was no speed gun there, but he was hitting 145 consistently. He bowled rapid. He bowled good lines, good lengths. He ruffled some feathers with some short stuff. Didn't take any wickets, but I wouldn't. If I was an England supporter, I wouldn't be too phased about that. He had good rhythm, and he's ready to go as far as I'm concerned. Your point about should they play a spinner, I think they'll be tempted to play Will Jacks. I mean, Will Jacks bats in the top 3, top 4 for Surrey in the county championship. He's a very, very fine player. I know Michael Divenuto was coach at Surrey for a few years, had big raps on him as a batter. I mean, they could very easily slot him in at number 8 after Jamie Smith, and that could very much lengthen their batting. That would mean that Stokes would become the 4th seamer as opposed to the 5th seamer. And as I've said, my philosophy's always been if you can't get 20 wickets with 4 seamers, you're probably not going to do it with 5. So I think because someone always misses out on not bowling enough overs. So I think they'll potentially go that way. Joe Root, he's made comments about pink ball test. Personally, I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I'm not that, neither here nor there with pink ball test matches, but they are here. They're here to stay. I think we just have to crack on with it. I think Travis Head was quoted pretty much saying that. It doesn't matter what colour ball it is. Let's just go out there and play cricket.
Kaspa?
Yeah, look, I'll go with Diz. Obviously knows the players a lot more in depth currently. I'm happy with that Josh Tongue selection. I think that's good, but exactly the same thing. As I mentioned before, coming to the Gabba, you can get just carried away trying too hard. And we've seen that from England over all the years. And that's why you need the preparation, not just with a pink ball, but I guess with any sort of ball in playing those tour games as a warm-up. You can't find form in the nets. I reckon it's impossible to do that in the nets. But I think that's the most important thing, is to get out in the middle. And that's where you actually feel and you identify it. And I think for England, or for both teams really, it's about hitting that just good length and being consistent, not getting carried away, thinking it should be swinging more because we're in Queensland with humidity, or even the fact that with the ball sort of if there is a little bit of green tinge, you never get out to the Jaffa. The Jaffa won't get you out, and we're not talking about Mitchell Starc 150k an hour in swing Yorkers, but we're talking about the ball that you play and miss. And it's always the batsmen talk about they always got out to a crap shot. It's always their fault, not ours. And so I say that because our job is to bowl good length, short of outside off stump, just short of a length. Maybe in Brisbane a touch fuller to drag the batsman at you. But one of the things that we want them to do is make a mistake. And we see that time again at the Gabba, where batsmen come in and we'll see a ball, I'll say a foot or so outside off stump, like we saw in Perth, and then sort of on the up, batsmen try to drive it through the covers, only to give the slips a bit of catching practice, because you can't control it. You mentioned it, Flem, too, around, and that's what Matthew Hayden did so well for Queensland for so many years, is let the bowler come to you. That's the patience of Test cricket. So that line just outside off stump, get it there, so the batsman's got to make a decision, but the wrong decision. Do I go forward? Do I go back? Do I play it? Do I leave it? But then more so, we can sort of play with them. We can sort of get a little bit fuller. maybe a touch straighter, just to get them feeling bad on ball, to then drag them a touch wider for them to once again try cover drive you and snick you out.
Yeah, for England, for me, I'm happy with Tongue. The other question I worry about too is like Archer's resilience. If it's a long test match, how many overs can he bowl? So they're going to need a backup. I'd rather them go fast bowling than Jacks, who I still think's a little bit of an option there as well. And then just about England's batting, the guy that sums it up for me is Ollie Pope, who, if you bowl on his pads, he looks a genius. If you get short and wide, he's probably got the best cut shot in world cricket. When he tries to drive or drive aggressively on the up through the offside, he looks like he's going to nick every time. So for him, it's pretty simple. He needs them to come at him or get impatient and get outside stump and it's a little bit wide. So, at number 3, he got 2 starts. Right. He's the one that should have gone on, got a big score. Hey, what about great Gabba moments in Ashes cricket? Kaspa, when was the first time you actually went to the Gabba to watch a test match?
When I played my debut against West Indies. Yeah, I know, coming from Brisbane.
Did you not go as a kid?
No, well, my mum raised us, single mum, and it's one of those things, even back then it was too expensive to go to the cricket. But I look at Shield games, because it was a lot easier to do it. But I reckon the first time I went was my test debut against the West Indies in 1995, 96. Wow. But my favourite moments, obviously, the favourite moment out of that, there was supposed to be a fairy tale, maybe a hat-trick even, on debut. But I didn't get a wicket. I did not get a wicket that first test match. I didn't get a wicket the second test match in Sydney either. And then
I did not know that.
Yeah. And then was dropped. I did hook Courtney Walsh for 6, though, in Sydney.
Nice.
SCG. I knew the second next delivery was going to be 5 times faster, and it was, and hit me in the grip.
So, Kaspa, I didn't know. That'd be like making a couple of pairs almost, and then not, waiting to score your first run. So who was your first wicket in Test cricket?
Mark Butcher in an Ashes at Edgbaston. Yeah. So 97. That was my first Test wicket. So that was wonderful there. But I think my favourite moments, I'm going to go at the Gabba. I was there in my capacity as a board member of Cricket Australia. 8.5 years I spent on the board as a non-executive director. I was the very first fast bowler ever.
Yes. To
be on the board. Now, Alan Davidson, I asked him, can you ever recall? He said, I can't recall a former fast bowler ever being on the board. So I've been representing minority groups for many years.
Yes.
There's only 3 of us in a team, generally, 6 batters.
You just broke new ground.
So,
brilliant.
My highlights were Mitch Johnson, 2013, and I'm standing up in the box there at the chairman's room at the time, and I wasn't having red wine stained teeth, which is what we only knew board members to have back in our day. It was quite funny because you're standing up there and you're talking to lots of people. People would see the opportunity to come up and hook in and saying, Kaspa, bang, from a board point of view, this is wrong, that's bang, got to change that, do it, all that. But it was great because there was that afternoon, I think it was around tea time or just before, might have been just after tea, just before tea, where Mitch Johnson came in and decided to bomb the English batsman and picked up 3 quick wickets bowling lightning, and then just went on to the whole rest of the series and dominated, and I think he averaged 17 or something, or 30 or 8 wickets, whatever. It was unbelievable. Fast. But I think that's it, that I said to that bloke at the time, I said, well, the best part about being on the board is that, you're there to listen to people tell you what's wrong with Australian cricket and what we might be able to do and help and do that. But at the same time, it's amazing how winning solves everything. So if Australia beat England, then everything's fixed. Everyone's happy.
Hey, Kaspa, I'm a bit the same. I just wanted little moments. So the wow moments for me, number 3 was Steve Harmison's first ball. I was in the press box about to commentate, and you watched it and you're going, oh, Justin Langer's nicked that to Freddie.
Yeah.
And then everyone's looking around going, what just happened there? And it wasn't until the replay going, oh, my God, he bowled it straight to Freddie. Because Freddie was really casual about it, wasn't he? He just grabbed it and threw it back.
Mm-hmm.
I reckon second was Mitchell Starc's first ball dismissal of Rory Burns last to it.
Yeah.
Like, where's it going to go? And to get bowled around your legs is almost the least likely dismissal. Besides a weird handled the ball or, falling on the wickets. Yeah. Number one was Mitchell Johnson. It was his comeback. People forget his first spell was from the wrong end and he looked flat. And then as soon as he come, from the
Stanley spoke, right?
Yeah, it was just wow. And I just had a moment where he got 3 consecutive wickets. I was in the Cricketers Club, magnificent facility there, and it was just manic. People are running outside or running back inside just to see the sheer delight of the members of Mitchell Johnson running through them. And side on looks so much quicker too, doesn't it? Like you could barely see the ball. So they were the sort of 3 wow moments for me. What about you, Diz?
Yeah, look, I mean, my great Gabba moments, there's been many, and you guys have mentioned a few great ones, but I'm going to talk quickly about a game that I was fortunate enough to play in. I think it's known, it's most famous, it's 0-2-3, famous for Nasser Hussain winning the toss and bowling. And Matty Hayden got all the accolades. He scored 300 runs in the match, 197 and 103. We finished day one, boys, 2 for 364. And Nasser took responsibility for that, for winning the toss and bowling. He thought an inexperienced bowling lineup to get use of the wicket, which ties into what Kaspa said, that expectation. These young bowlers are probably thinking, oh, well, we've won the toss and bowled now. Oh, we're expected to take wickets. So in the end, we set England a target of something like 460 odd. Knocked them over for 79, so we won by 384 runs. But for me, I know Haydos scored 300 runs in the match, but for me, the president, the great Glenn McGrath, just punched out 4 for 87 and 4 for 36. So for me, that's the Ashes moment.
Hey, Flem, I've got one more just to add, and it was on the field, but not a player. It was the time test match way back when the old Gabba with the dog track that went around.
Yes.
There was a pig run on the field with both of them written on one side and Hemmings on the other side of this pig. Early 80s it was, this thing.
That's right.
And so immediately it was the old Gabba where sure it had a hill back in the day when grounds had hills, but we had a dog track here in Brisbane. And the dog track, everyone sit on the grass. Beautiful, thick, nice green grass and all that. And so even closer to the action. But what I found out and what's happened is that actually back in the day you could actually take your lunch in an esky. I think back in the day you could take the carton of beer for the guys. You take a beer in. Only one bottle of wine for the women though. And then there was, but you could take your lunch. So all of a sudden, and I know this because the bloke I know knows the bloke that did it, who was a vet student at University of Queensland. And, of course, he's taken in his big esky with all his food. And what have we got there? We've got some seafood and also some pork. Obviously, it's under a general anaesthetic.
He wasn't lying.
And and they brought it in, no problem at all. Yeah, okay, good luck to you. The thing came to and they painted it up and slapped it on the bum and set it on the field. And, I think that was bring back
I think that. Wasn't an article on that this week? The pig's still alive.
Sure they will.
Massive.
Wow.
Yeah. The pig did a press conference.
Right. just reflecting on that day?
Like Babe, was it? Or something
wow, how inventive to think that up.
Good. So good.
Isn't there? All right, let's move on. Hey, gentlemen, it's time for the All-Rounders Index. Thanks to our partners Swyftx. Discover where crypto can take you. And this is about bowlers who contribute with the bat. I sort of come up with a theme that it's an Ashes test match at the Gabba. So I thought I'd look up some of our fast bowling cartel mates over the history of Gabba tests, who's contributed most. The top 3 as in the highest scores by a tail ender at the Gabba against England at the Gabba. Third is Mitchell Johnson, 64 out. Second is Ray Lindwall, the great fast bowler of the 40s and 50s. He was 64 not out. The highest score at the against England at the Gabba in an Ashes Test match, and I was not out.
No way.
Is my 71. What about that?
All you want
when
to
you
do
go
is
on
get
the
this
Crick
in.
Info and do the stats thing, I'm going, I might be a chance, but boom,
Brilliant.
raising the bats. But it does say all-rounders index, and I backed up my mighty 71 not out with no wickets in the first innings because I think I was still sore from unaccustomed use. So my Swyftx all-rounders index is going to go to Mitchell Johnson because you forget about, you talk about his bowling. Well, we did in that test match. He didn't just get 9 wickets. He got 64 in the first innings when we were in trouble, big partnership with Brad Haddon. Then he smashed 36 not out in the second innings. So he's made 100 runs for once out, 9 wickets. So Mitchell Johnson's the winner. But you forget about how handy he contributed with the bat in that series.
Yeah, he was absolutely. Tell you who else he was contributed, obviously, was at practice for all the teams. And when Mitch Johnson for Queensland came in as a young fast bowler in the nets, it was hard work. He was so quick and all that. Maybe there's a new segment for him, the most difficult bowlers to face in the nets.
In the nets. Yeah. He'd be up. I
Oh,
think Brett Lee
Mitch would be up there for sure.
Brett Lee Brad Williams in the old Victorian
Sean
days.
Tate.
Sean Tate. He didn't hit the pitch. He beat me first ball. But well done to Mitchell Johnson. But remember, sign up and verify with Swyftx to get $20 in Bitcoin available for new customers only. See where crypto can take you with Swyftx. Promo code, I like this one, FBC20.
Oh, love that. Love that from our
Hey.
friends at Swyftx. That's
I like that.
fantastic.
Now it's time for the segment that has ripped up the cricketing fraternity because if he sees any hypocrisy, third-person work, mainly batters just complaining, he is going to say, give me a spell. Take it away, Des.
Thanks, Flem. Found some chirping in Sydney fourth grade cricket. Flemo, Kaspa.
Gee, you look everywhere.
I'm looking everywhere. But I've found it. Monty Panesar, our friend from the former left-arm spinner, giving it the big one at the moment, getting stuck into Steve Smith. He's claiming that England should target Steve Smith with referencing Sandpaper Gate, get into his head. For me, Smithy responded. I don't know if you guys saw, Monty Panesar was on Mastermind a while back. It's like a quiz show, and he was asked questions, and Steve Smith referenced it in response to Monty coming out talking about Sandpaper Gate, and referenced that Monty probably not the sharpest knife in the drawer when it came to answering some questions.
Have you got an example?
Well, he thought Athens was in Germany. That's one. Another one was he was asked where the great TV show from the 80s, Cheers, what city was that in? And he responded with America. So anyway.
Come on, Monty.
Yeah, come on, Monty. But I think that the point I'm trying to make is that he's taking the high road, the moral high ground, about Sandpaper Gate and how Steve Smith should be nailed with that. Monty, in your own autobiography, you admitted to ball tampering. Give me a spell, Monty. Give me a spell.
Yeah.
Nonsense.
That's contradiction, isn't it?
Absolute nonsense. Yeah.
No.
Give me a spell, boys. Nonsense.
No, agree. Have you got another one, douche?
No, that's it for me today.
Haven't you got the Konstas bowling action?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Sam
Freaking-
Konstas. PM's
What's he
11,
done?
boys. He came on and bowled an over.
Oh, yeah.
And his first ball, wide, full toss, about waist high, got hit out to the boundary. It could be one of the worst deliveries I've seen in cricket. Sam, give me a spell, mate. You are not a bowler. Stick to your batting. You're a very talented young man. Love what you do with the bat. You got a bit of work to do, but it's all right. But when it comes to bowling, give me a spell.
Well, we've got the action here. Like, it's not only that it's a bad delivery. There's nothing in that action, is there?
It's horrendous. It's
wow.
horrendous.
And it got me thinking the top 3 worst bowling actions I've seen in cricket. Okay? Okay. I think I'll go third in my time, Justin Langer.
Yeah.
There was nothing about Alfie, and there was a time in the mid-90s all the batters tried to bowl, to be a bit of an all-rounder. I remember Haydos bowling, Justin Langer for their state, Matthew Elliott, all just trying to see if they're. But I think Justin Langer, there was no pace, obviously no bounce, no athleticism at all. Second, I'm going Mark Taylor, who I saw get a test wicket, and I can't unsee it. It blamonged out. He tried a leggy. It almost bounced twice. And Rashid Latif, if you're listening, you're a disgrace to get out of that. And Rashid lobs it, and I love Rashid. He lobs it to Michael Bevan, and we know Bevo, not the best hands in the world, catches it. Wow. So he was just slow-mo. It was like a car crash from the start with Tubby, the car, to Rashid lobbing this half-tracker, and then Bevo actually, the crocodile jaws of Bevo catching it. Number 1, he's our ex-coach, and it was like, everyone had to put him back then, didn't we? We didn't have the Wanger or bowling machines. Everyone needed to bowl, but even as a tail ender, you said, Coach, give it a rest, and that's Jeff Marsh.
Yes.
Do you remember watching Swampy?
He was horrendous.
It was like, he played AFL. He was a good footballer, fantastic batsman, but no coordination at all. And I think Sean's the same, evidently. Can't bowl.
Really bad, was he?
Yeah,
Sean
well,
Marsh?
that's my 3. What about you boys?
Well, I'm going to go. Mine are not too dissimilar to you, Flem, to be honest. Alfie Langer, putrid bowling. Just putrid. There's nothing about it that says that is a bowling action. Disgraceful. Michael Slater was pretty ordinary bowler as well.
Yes.
Yeah, he was pretty awful bowler. And I'm going to give a special mention, an honourable mention to Matty Hayden. Should have been half decent with that rig, but for some reason they just blamonged out. But the worst I've seen, I was in the UK and saw the former England captain Alistair Cook bowl, and he was bowling all these impressions and the like, and it was just the most junk bowling I've ever seen in my life. And he ended up getting a wicket, caught down leg side. It was just disgraceful. So just absolutely horrific.
Good, Kaspa.
There's a common theme, isn't it? Generally, they're opening batsmen.
Correct.
And the reason being is that beside the coordination, there's something in the XY genes, just that coordination of being able to move properly. There's coming through. So I had in mind, and the hardest split, but just the same names, Mark Taylor, as well as Justin Langer coming through. But the other one too, that I want to give him a special mention though, was a great mate of all of ours, Adam Gilchrist. Now, it's not saying, the reason why I'm saying not bad, but he sort of looked like he didn't offer that much. Where, he took the gloves off at training, like maybe little sweatband swingers in the nets or things like that. But I just want to shout out how awesome he was for the Australian cricket team in Hong Kong at the Sixers.
Wow.
We had a competition there. Who was in that side? Myself, Bluey, Bick.
Yeah, I was in it.
I reckon. Ian Harvey as well.
See, that's one hell of a social team.
It was pretty solid.
Well, I think this story's going on those lines.
We ended up playing we didn't make the finals, but we made the plate final against Hong Kong. The first round losers got to sort of play off. So we're playing against Hong Kong, and we had one over to go. Of course, everyone has to bowl one over, including the keeper. So Gillies come up to bowl. Gets to the crease. They need 3 runs to win. We need 2 wickets. We won. So, as I said, special mention.
Special mention.
Yeah. Excellent.
I think that day maybe he worked it out. He had a good, he pulled the chain, bite the apple. And good follow through.
Nice.
He rolled. It was so good.
Who else, Kaspa? Who's your top 3?
Well, I guess, like I said, it's hard to split between that. But, yeah, right with the Matty Hayden one too.
Okay, you're going, Dossie.
Plenty of time with him. Jimmy Maher was actually not in an Ashes sort of sense for an Australian player, it's an Australian one-day player, but he was one of those ones, he was different.
Tell you what, Kaspa, I did love Jimmy's impression of Carl Rackerman, I must admit. That's one of my favourite things I've seen in cricket. Like Mocker walking back to his mark with his hair, doing his comb over and then coming in and
I can't wait to get
action.
Mocker on this. How good will Mocker be on this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, that was a longer give me a spell, but we just added on a little criteria at the end. Well done, Douche.
Thanks, mate.
Hey, Douche, can you take it away with another sponsored segment, the lovely VB Golden Longneck Award?
Yeah, thanks, Flem. Yeah, the Golden Longneck Award presented by VB. It's to the hardest working bowlers. And because we've already reviewed that test match and this is a preview for the second test, thought we'd just dive back into when was there an example of some hard working bowlers. And I really can't go past Kolkata 2001.
Yes.
It was the famous test match where we made India follow on. The bowlers were McGrath, Kasprowicz, Gillespie, and Shane Warne. Because we made them follow on, we actually fielded, I think, for about 245 overs straight. And there was a little bit, Kaspa, you could attest, there was a little bit of hard work there. And I think, Flem, there was a little bit of hard work off the field as well.
Well, I've been dropped, hadn't I? So I was 12th man. You come in, Kaspa, and your job is 12th man. When we sent him in for the outright, get those beers cold.
Yes.
For the celebrations. It's fair to say the ice melted and the beers went warm by the time you poor guys come off. And to show how hardworking you guys were, you bowled so much. I think just about everyone bowled except for Gilly, didn't they?
Gilly and Tugger were the only two that didn't bowl in that innings. Yeah, so a lot of time on the field. It would have been great to have had a nice cold golden long neck at the end of that. But as you said, all the ice had melted, unfortunately, Fleb.
That was one time where a VB, golden long neck would have been fantastic.
Would have been brilliant.
But hopefully there's a moment in this test match.
Yes.
Where the bowlers really dig deep and a little bit unrewarded.
And I think you're right, Flem, because I think, as Kaspa said, with the weather that's been in Brisbane leading into this test, I think there's going to be some periods where it's going to be a really good place to bat at the Gabba during the match.
Hey, and Kaspa, thanks for joining us as well. Also, well done. Great news. I think we've got some photos of it. You were inducted into the Queensland Sporting Hall of Fame. Yeah. That must have been such a great reward.
Yes, Cass.
Another one for the fast bowling cartel.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. Representing again. And I think ultimately we play cricket because we love it. And not only just as a fast bowler. The best part about it is that you can legitimately be a bully. As a fast bowler, you can bowl and scare kids. But you just love the game. Keep playing it and see where it takes you. And for me, fortunately, was able to, like you guys, play for our states and also for our country. So it was wonderful. I just managed to do it for 19 years for Queensland, 19 seasons. So hung around for a while, and so it was really nice. And I had the whole family up here as well. So I threw that in the speech that I think the Broncos won Team of the Year, Brisbane Broncos, and their coach, Michael Maguire, was there accepting it. But I did it in my acceptance speech. Thank you, but I said, look, I'm sorry, Madge, Maguire. My favourite team is my family, my kids. So Yeah.
Oh, nice touch.
Nice touch there.
Yeah, thoroughly deserved, Cass.
Well
My
done,
second favourite
Kaspa.
team, of course, is the FBC.
Yes. And you have just dominated here. And that will lead. We'll go one more time. That is the Fast Bowling Cartel podcast. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you join us after day one up at the Gabba for a review where hopefully the Aussies just absolutely smash Bazball. We better get going. Is that Josh Rogan has just joined us?
Is that Jason Gillespie? Is that the man with the mullet? Is that the man with one of the greatest haircuts in the history of sport?
Isn't that the bloke? He was on Give Me a Spell.
It's Limo. It's Limo. A prediction for the second test, Limo?
I think we'll win it. We'll win it before tea on the first day.
That's a good note to go out on. See you, gentlemen.
See you, boys.
Thanks, guys.